Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast Network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Ozcast.
So you wanted to really understand this whole thing with Donald Trump and his vision for Gaza.
Yeah.
You sent us this YouTube video from Sky News.
Right.
And it's,
Wild.
yeah, it's got some pretty wild imagery in it.
It does.
Yeah, think like Mediterranean Riviera meets,
Uh-huh.
I don't know, a little bit of a fever dream maybe.
Yeah, a little bit.
But luckily, you're following all this stuff in the Middle East.
Mm.
You're very well versed on all the politics there.
As best as I can be, yeah.
But luckily, we've got our expert here to kind of break it down.
Sure.
So
Let's deep dive into it.
yeah. So first of all, what is in this video?
Well, it's pretty interesting.
Okay. It's
I mean, I know it's AI generated, I got that much.
right. So it's AI generated and it's depicting this future Gaza.
Right.
And it's a very different picture than we see in the news these days.
Yeah. It's like super futuristic.
Yes.
Like shiny, happy people holding hands. Exactly, like a utopia.
Yeah, like tons of high rises.
Right.
Beautiful beaches.
Everybody's prosperous.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that really got me
Okay.
is the unexpected guests in this little digital daydream.
Oh, yeah.
So you've got Elon Musk
Right.
just like casually tossing money around while he's eating hummus.
Uh-huh.
And then you have Benjamin Netanyahu just chilling by the pool.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then there's Trump himself depicted in gold.
Wow.
What do you think is the significance of all that imagery?
Well, I mean, depicting someone in gold has always been a way to convey power and wealth,
Uh-huh.
almost like a godlike status.
Oh, yeah.
And so in this context, with the video, it seems like they're really emphasizing Trump's, central role in this whole transformation.
Right.
It's a bold statement and one that's definitely going to,
Grab your attention.
yeah, get some reactions. Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. So we get this kind of like glossy picture,
Mm-hmm.
but the video itself doesn't really explain how we're getting to this utopia.
Right.
So what is Trump's actual plan for Gaza? Okay, so as described in the video and by the Sky News commentators, the plan is basically centered on completely redeveloping Gaza,
Okay.
turning it into a Mediterranean Riviera.
Okay. So big investment in infrastructure and technology.
Tons of investment, bringing in tourism,
All right.
all of that stuff.
And there was also something in there about resettling the Palestinian population.
That's right, and that's where things get a little
Yeah, a little tricky.
tricky. Yeah.
And actually, the Sky News commentators were pointing out that, moving that many people,
Right.
like how would you even do that?
Exactly. And they brought up, concerns about displacement.
Right.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a huge ethical and logistical issue
absolutely.
to think about just moving a whole population.
Yeah. I mean, these people have deep roots in Gaza.
Right.
And any kind of talk about resettling them is going to bring up memories of other conflicts and,
Yeah, the specter of source displacement.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, not a great look.
No.
And it's interesting because the Sky News commentators, they seem pretty surprised.
Uh-huh.
Like they were calling it attention grabbing,
Yeah.
but they were also saying like, this is really different from the normal way peace negotiations work.
Yeah. It's definitely a very different approach to communicating a vision like this.
Right.
It's relying a lot on these visuals.
Right.
And, trying to make you feel something
Right.
rather than actually giving you like detailed policies.
It's kind of like a really glossy advertisement.
Right.
Just trying to evoke an emotion rather
Yeah,
than
like-
really get into the nitty gritty. So who do you think this is for?
That's a good question.
Like, who is the audience for this kind of messaging?
I mean, you can imagine that it would appeal to people who are just tired of the conflict,
Yeah.
and they see this and they're like, oh, wow, this is amazing. This would be a great future.
It's so hopeful.
Right.
But you also have to think about how this is going to land with people who've experienced, real hardship
Oh.
because of this conflict.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like a really interesting way to present this controversial plan.
yeah.
It's visually very striking,
Mm-hmm.
but it definitely raises more questions than it answers.
It does.
What's the key takeaway for you?
Well, I think this whole thing really highlights how much AI is starting to influence politics.
Nah.
You know, it can be used to create these really compelling narratives.
Right.
Even if the narratives are kind of oversimplifying these really complex issues.
Yeah, you're getting the emotion.
Exactly.
But not necessarily the whole picture.
Right. And it's just a reminder that we need to be really careful about the information that we're taking in.
Yeah.
Especially when it's playing on our emotions.
Yeah. It's a good reminder for everybody.
Yeah.
To stay critical of what we're seeing.
Absolutely.
Well, this has been really fascinating.
It has.
This whole deep dive has really kind of opened my eyes to this whole new world of political communication.
Yeah.
And if you find any other, interesting topics
Oh, please.
in your research,
Send them my way.
you know where to find us.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
It's been a really interesting exploration.
It has.
Take care.
You too.
Bye.
Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.